such an asshole.
Tired Cappy. Oh, I'm gonna go to the gym. I don't have to go to the gym. I choose to go to the gym. We have an interesting two-part question, completely unrelated. One, he has career philosophy: truck driving and life in Switzerland versus the U.S. Where is better? Okay, truck driving. I've never driven truck in either places. I'm going to assume truck driving in Switzerland is worse than the US because it's up in the mountains. And I can't imagine the snow. I'm sure they keep the roads in just fine shape, but that's what would concern me is the snow and the ice. So I assume driving in Switzerland it's worse, and they have Nazi level speeding laws. And then in terms of life, Switzerland is a very clean, quiet country. And it's pretty, some pretty things, but I wouldn't want to live in Switzerland just because it's cold. I don't know if I mentioned it. It's high up in the mountains and it's cold. And they were too law abiding. Imagine a bunch of straight A students, goody two shoe types, but not the pompous, arrogant type of goody two shoe teacher pets. They're just so obedient. Everything is so where it should be and what it is. And oh, look at us. My buddy took me past this dump. And he was like, I said, what are they doing? Like, those don't look like, oh, they're sifting through the garbage. I said, for what? Oh, to clean out all the recyclables. So for Lord knows how many hundreds of years that was the dump. And they're such a good, wonderful, perfect peoples that they're going through their dump and taking out the recycling. I'm like, oh, no. I need some sin. I need some vice. I cannot live in a country of straight A students. I cannot live in the library of the world where everyone's just so quiet and polite. It was really eerie. Nothing against the Swiss people. I was treated just fine. Wonderful people. Absolutely nothing wrong with the people. I'm just like, you guys are going to burn me at the stake because I spit on the no spit sidewalk. I don't even know if you can smoke anywhere in that. Honestly, I don't think anything but missionary position is allowed in Switzerland. I knew I was going to. I don't want to live in Switzerland. Two, more of the serious one. List strongly intellectual hobbies and activities. Okay, so this took some sitting and thinking. And if you want an expanded list, you can go ahead and get the menu Life Without the Opposite Sex, because even though that book is written for the general population, I had to sit and think, okay, what's really important? Because if you're going to take away love and family, which women have in the West, pretty much half of you anyway, right? Right, girls? Family, you don't need guy? Okay. You remove love and family. So I had to sit and think, okay, well, what is there left in life? And there's hedonistic things. There's consumption. There's materialism. There's the worshiping of oneself, but that isn't for terribly intellectual or deep or smart people. And so whereas there's no doubt in that book a list of things that are for your rank and file people, I had to sit and figure out, okay, well, what are hobbies for genuinely intelligent people? And so I've came up with well, I think it's a pretty comprehensive list, but it's not that long. But obviously there are subcategories within each of these. So first one I would say is philosophy. I'd say that's the most important one. If for any other reason, if you're a particularly smart person, you're going to be statistically ostracized from the rest of society. And I guess I should have probably grabbed. Do I got it? Here we go. Yeah. So link below. If you're here because of searches, you might want to get this book. I'll talk about it later. But here, the little red guy. No, wrong place. The little red guy. Yeah, that's you. If you're a particularly smart person, you're a statistical oddity. And one of the biggest hurdles really intelligent people face is, how the heck do you interact and operate and live within the rest of society? And No offense to the dumb and stupid and normal people, but offense to you dumb, stupid, and normal people because I've had to put up with you for my entire life, and I've realized just what debauched, degenerate scumbuckets you all are. Because you'll gladly hurt and harm other people if it makes you popular. You will, to be part of the herd. You're just a disgusting group of people. So I am a genuine misanthrope. But you got to reconcile with that. Like, okay, I'm operating up here, and everyone else is down here. How do you derive joy, purpose, and meaning in life? Forget whether women, because of feminism or modern day technology or economics, don't want to get married or not. That's not the thing. You can't find anyone because you're such a statistical oddity or freak. And so it's really hard to make friends. It's really hard to establish relationships with other human beings, which is one, if not the most important thing to do while you're here. You gotta, every intelligent person has at minimum their Maslow's level of intelligence needs is you gotta find a purpose and reason to live in life outside of humanity. And hopefully you're lucky enough, like you go and you become an academic, a real one, someone like a degree in physics, not a sociologist or an economist or some moron with an IQ of 105. I'm talking truly intelligent. Like we're going to figure out how to put something on a moon or Mars or whatever. You could find your people, but you got the philosophy of trying to figure that even though it's a sad reason you are at the doorstep of philosophy to try and figure out a point and purpose and reason in life, it is also a blessing because it is a huge intellectual challenge, a huge intellectual job that unto itself gives you purpose and reason in life. And so I'd strongly recommend first step number 1, Schopenhauer. You digest Schopenhauer. After that, I don't know. I think he covered it. I'm not a Nietzsche fan. Just go with Schopenhauer. That's about it. Then he can go and eat off and go do some fun stuff. But that is that he is basically, I'm surrounded by a bunch of freaking morons. How the heck do I not pull my hair out? And the guy went bald anyway. So there's that. Closely related, I would say under the same category would be religion. For 2 reasons. One, maybe you want to wrestle with the existential crisis or problem that you exist and then soon you won't. And do you want to speculate as to whether or find out for yourself whether any of these religions are correct and that there is an afterlife, or perhaps some of the Eastern ones that there is no beginning or end to life. It is just a constant state of existence, but in different formats and different stages. Says that. But then there's also a lot of wisdom in religion, which would then squarely fall within the realm of philosophy. So whether it's the Old Testament or the Quran or any of the Eastern, Confucius books, there is a lot of wisdom from people who have wrestled with these same problems before they came before you, who are not stuck at the bread and circuses or the college experience with their liberal arts degree or at the sports bowl game. There are people like, boy, what are we here for? And so there's a lot of wisdom and comfort to be gained from various religions, whether you believe in them or not. That's not it. But a bonus, maybe you end up believing in one of them and you find God and you have your existential crisis solved. And so that's a journey, and one that would be intellectually rewarding as well. For more earthly matters, entrepreneurship. For intelligent people, though, I think this is more of a personality thing, but there might be a correlation with intelligent people. Since you can't tolerate stupid people, you're not going to be able to tolerate your average bosses in the United States because they're just freaking morons. I mean, if you think about this, a genuinely intelligent person going up to a conformist, non-thinking NPC who is dumb enough to get an MBA, working in a system where conformance is rewarded above performance, smart people are just going to ram heads with management, with leaders. And so I would say entrepreneurship is definitely one of the things that you should pursue, not only as a hobby, but as a mental health measure. I mean, because God, one of the best things you can do is get out of the thumb of employers. So you never have to deal with some idiot freaking mid-level IQ 105 MBA-laden putz who got ahead because he sucked the right dick or licked the right vag. And I think a lot of you are realizing that with the modern day cancer going across employment with woke and identity politics and diversity and inclusion, all that. It's just a nightmare. You don't want to work there. So entrepreneurship is a way to do that. So that's another thing. I originally listed this as construction, craftsmanship, and creation, but let's just call it production. Not necessarily related to your career, but I think intelligent people need to be productive so that they leave something behind. It doesn't have to be the world's greatest novel or a cure for cancer, though certainly that's within the realm of that. But any kind of creation and production that you do outside of work. It could be making furniture. It could be writing a book. It could be programming an app or a video game. One I have really taken a shine to has been building your own home, or at least doing your own home projects. Auto repair. This might lean closer to the men than it would the women. I think women might need to be more on the creative side, like painting or art. Doesn't mean you girls can't build your own home, and nor does it mean men can't create or paint or do pottery or anything like that. But I think the intellectual mind cannot just sit and exist. They must have an existential purpose to their existence on this planet. And so creating and producing things as a calming effect. Not to make money, not because you have to, but because you choose to. I mean, taxidermy, anything where there's like, oh, I made this thing. I built that house. I tarred that road. I would go for a twofer where it's only in your best financial interest to do so. Like I fixed my car. I put on the new roof. I built my cabin in the woods. I drilled my own well. I installed my own solar panels. So there's that. But I think at the end of the day, I know this is true of men, especially intelligent men. You get your yard to grow grass. You pick out a whole yard of rocks, which I have tons, literally tons of rocks and boulders. And there your grass is coming in. You know, my retaining wall. I know it's stupid. If people come visit me, if they're older men, you know, I don't show them, oh, yeah, look at this interior design. I mean, they see it because they're in the house. Like, look at this retaining wall. Look at this pond I trenched and dredged. Look at the dam I made so the pond is higher. Look at how I rerouted this little stream. Look at this boulder wall over here. I did that. And, you know, because what do you get? Because here's another thing with all these hobbies, all these ideas, all these intellectual pursuits. You say, well, I don't want to put in a retaining wall. The opportunity cost or your other alternative is what, you gonna go talk to the normal people about the game? You gonna talk about the sports ball, bro? You gonna talk about the new car you got? Are you gonna talk? Here's one I found incredibly boring. Are you gonna talk about, oh my God, did you know the Democrats are taking your money? That's so unfair. Oh my God, did you hear the person on the interweb said the thing? Oh my God, I can't believe they said that thing. You know, reading the Daily Mail, reading tabloids. Oh my God, did you see the show with the pointy thrown hair show? Oh my God, the octopus game show. Oh, did you see the thing that we had nothing to participate in? I'm not kidding. Here's how you know you're smarter or a lot more intellectual than the average bear. When you are given a proposition of like, do you want to go to the movie theater? And you're like, I'd actually rather go take a sermon at church, because you know that there might be a shot that there's some wisdom of utility and intellectual stimulation at the sermon in church, whereas the movie is going to be a complete pissing away of time and money to be saddled with half an hour of advertisements and some horribly directed Hollywood piece of cancer that, oh, look out, black women and all diversities. Ooh, the bad guy's white. Ooh, political leftist message. some kind of Seth Rogen abortion that somebody he knew gave him the money. Hey, make this crap movie. Sprinkled the extra crappy millennial sauce on that one. Oh, who saw the political thing of that coming? When you're like, nah, I think I'll go to church. Well, yeah, you're an intellectual. You're looking for it. So at any point in time, whoa, retaining walls, that sounds hard. You know what sounds a lot harder? Trying to consume and digest the crap your normie conformies inferiors out there create. Go read the best-selling book on the New York Times. I bet you it's crap. You go watch your average movie. Go watch the most popular show. It's crap. Go watch a sports ball game where they also dribble the sphere back and forth and put it in the hoop with great agility and force. Oh, 108 to 102. That was a game. Those guys threw the ball in better than that, put the dribbling back and forth. And if you really want to embrace challenging, intellectually stimulating, if any one of these you like, whoa, that sounds like labor. I dare you. If you don't want to do that, I dare you to watch either a pre or post-game analysis show. I dare you to watch one of those. You'll go screaming for that retaining wall. You'll go down to the Menards or the Homey Depot. You go buy yourself some work gloves. You're like, 102 degrees? Let's put in that retaining wall. So there's that. So some kind of form of production. Adventuring. This is kind of a catch-all category where it's hiking, biking, camping, road tripping, motorcycling, or traveling of some kind. I wanted to do that rafting trip from Wyoming down to Las Vegas. Doesn't look possible, but that's what I'm talking about. Something where you're going out and exploring the world. Something simple. I've always had this. There would be guys, not to bore you with details, but when Cappy was working, campus cop security, you had the University of Minnesota, and you have the East Bank campus, West Bank campus on each side of the Mississippi. And there was a bridge that connected to Washington Avenue Bridge. And we patrolled because there's pedestrian up top, cars down below. So we just patrol. Well, people coming in from the west or the east, there'd be guys, a handful, like 3 or 4 of them, where every season they'd be either walking east or west, and however their path had them go, it brought them through the Twin Cities, and that was the choke point. And it was the same guys. You'd see them like once a year going either one way or the other, depending on the season. And they'd go across the Washington Avenue Bridge. And they weren't homeless. They had a big backpack, kind of like Joker. Joker probably is very familiar with this. They had a walking stick. And you talk to them like, oh, where you going? I'm walking over. I'm going to New York. Oh, I'm going down to Florida. I'm going to wherever they're going. And I was like, man, that's good. And now, especially with podcasts and headphones, the entertainment. But these guys, they're just Kane. They're wandering, man. Walking the earth. And so, I don't know if you want to walk the whole earth. I prefer to have 2 wheels underneath me in a hotel somewhere in there, every night. But some kind of adventuring. And that could be traveling. I mean, it could even be like you're on a cruise. I don't, touristy or not, just get out and go and explore and adventure. Because the world's here, and unless you're going to become an astronaut and fly to the moon or Mars or something, this is it. This is all we got. So I would take advantage of what God or nature has given us on this wonderful planet and go explore. I would also then physical exercise, kind of related to the adventuring if you're hiking or doing this physically, but related, I would get into exercise. This is not necessarily a mentally stimulating thing. It's not. There's no mental stimulation working out. None. It's the most mind-numbing thing you do, but it is doing something that is mind-numbing that I think is a practice, but it also makes you feel better. I would do this merely for health and biochemical reasons. And I'm going to get into inducing vice and drugs into your body next, but if you want to do it in a more healthy way, going to the gym and getting exercise is good. Now I kind of combine it with my adventuring. I love going hiking, and so I do get my exercise that way. But also going to the gym will put you in a better mood. It will. It sucks doing it at first, but I think a lot of people need to go and suffer a little bit so that because life is not, there's no life without suffering. And the better you can handle suffering and have a tolerance for it, the less painful life overall is. And so forcing yourself to suffer, like you girls dating a 7.5, you have to suffer dating a guy who's only somewhat attractive. You girls suffer a guy who only makes 120,000 a year and doesn't have his finances together. But, you date a guy who's 5'10" and a half, you suffer. You go through the pain so you can tolerate these normies, right? But getting some exercise, I would say that's more of a habit. I wouldn't call it a hobby. It should be a habit, a good habit to have. So maybe that falls out of your question. Then vice/Epicureanism. You mean cooking? No, Epicureanism is simply described as responsible hedonism. I am not such a Puritan to say, oh no, don't do drugs. Because especially if you don't have kids, and especially with technology, and especially if you're good with your finances and you're a minimalist. I guess I should have put minimalism in there as a philosophy, but that doesn't matter. You're not going to need that much money. And you're going to have, consequently, a lot of time. And so you got to fill your time in with certain things. And I won't deny, now I've never done any hard drugs or even pot or anything like that, but boy, I enjoyed being drunk. You feel good when you're drunk. Now, the hangovers suck, yeah. But boy, there were some fun times. Just you go grab a bottle of Rumplemans or a bottle of wine, you get a new video game that came out, the new Medal of Honor came out for PlayStation 1 or 2 or whatever. And you'd spend the entire weekend playing it. That was nice, man. And it's a cheat, and there's no get away scot-free, but man, I love booze. You know why? Because it immediately turned off all the pain and agony and stupid people in my life. Whatever would be stressing me out, whatever I have to do, or the dumb people, whatever dumb crap happened, whatever stuff happened because other people screwed up and was bothering me. Once I had that shot of Rumplemans, within about a minute, it was like, oh. And not like, oh yeah, man. It was just like, oh, I don't care. I just don't care. And in a weird sense, I'm more for doing the hard drugs or pot or mushrooms or I guess your light drugs, your light recreational drugs. I'm way more for that than I am these SSRIs and antidepressants because that's not a hobby. That's you. I'm in constant pain and misery, probably because your dad wasn't around and you're a pussy. And you don't work hard at anything. I'm talking like you bust your ass off. You got a job. You got things going on. You're not depressed. And then you walk out in the world as a high IQ or just simply a truly independent minded individual. And you're surrounded by a sea of fat people at Walmart with purple hair and nose piercings. You're like, ah. Or you're watching the news and yet another official, whether it's in the media or the government, telling you need to pay more in taxes because you're a bad person because of the way you were born. Like, basically dealing with people lying to your face and thinking you're dumb enough to believe it. Man, booze, pot, edibles, shrooms, whatever it is, you guys, well, that kind of does tune it out. It does tune it out. So I'm for responsible hedonism or Epicureanism. You can look up the more formal study or philosophy if you want, but I'm all for vice. I would say the ultimate form of vice is having sex because in the past vice always has a consequence. If either you do too much of it, you just have bad luck. Well, now that we have birth control, that's taken care of. But a lot of you may be aware of that sex is a two-person engagement or maybe a group, who knows, but it usually requires the participation of another person. And usually, at least in our circles here, that other person would be part of a group of people that are just not that interested in sex. And as you are completely aware, the entire segment of this internet is about how to get that, which is why I would say if you're an intellectual, you don't have time to sit there. Oh yeah, patriarchy, horrible. Oh, you're getting your master's in journalism. You're so smart. And that's why I am all for you paying for it, whether that happens to be a girl or a guy. I don't care. I don't know what group of people I'm talking about. But yeah, sex would be, I would say, because it's fun, and now there's no consequence of at least pregnancy. Hopefully not STDs. Hopefully not. But I don't know. Maybe you could find yourself an agreeable lady. Random person from the other group of people that Shantgo mentioned. Maybe you might find someone who's an agreeable and amicable to such an arrangement. Maybe your wife will lose the weight and you guys have great sex. I don't know. Anything's possible. But on a more serious note, oh, we're bored. I don't know. How about you lose weight and you put on some? Why don't you go liven it up a little bit? I always wondered. I know a certain group of people are not as interested, but I always like, well, why not? What's the real cost? Apparently high, very, very high. But anyway, so that's some, if you find a partner who's agreeable to that obviously would liven things up. And then there's also what I'd call camaraderie careers. Obviously, there's be more for men. Happiest I ever was. It was under a false environment where I was graduating from college as my senior semester. I was good, man. I was the top. I don't know, I'm bore you with details. I know it sounds stupid, but I was like, we had statistics working on the campus security, fastest response times, most escorts. I think held most of them. I was good. So I was riding high on that. Near straight A's, no debt, worked everything, and but I didn't realize what I had working with that team of security guards. You would have thought, what security guards? Yeah, that was outside of college. And this is still maybe the last few dwindling years in the 90s where smarter people went to college. So there's a selection bias. But those guys are so cool and so smart. We had such good times in the handful of parties I went to, just working. I've never had that because I ended up going back and working in the real world with a bunch of freaking morons. You guessed it, finance, where you have the world's dumbest and most illegal, unethical scumbuckets ever. Truly stupid people. And I think a lot of guys in the military, obviously, they miss their buddies. And they don't realize, especially if you join right out of high school, you think, oh, yeah, you go from one group of people to another group of people, think it's going to last forever. You don't realize how rare it is because an artificial environment. But if you are a guy and you have the time, I would join a camaraderie career. One might say look at fraternal orders and okay, but all it is drinking clubs and with some weird, not even cult-like things. I don't mind the Masons at all. But a lot of idolatry, a lot of focus on processes and procedures and idols. And I'm like, can we just, I don't know, help raise money for the kids? Or can we just help Frank raise a barn? Something like that. And, but you want to go for the camaraderie. And I think the only thing that you're going to really find is military, cops, fire department, some kind of service. And so again, why Cappy's looking at going, joining the cops again. Not that I ever was a cop. We worked in the police department. I bore you people with that. But going and joining the police, but this time as an officer, not a security guard. And so that's something you guys might want to consider. National Guard, reserves. Hell, even I don't know if you could do it now, but the Boy Scouts, but the not lame version, the one that actually has boys and girls and you do cool things. And though this is along the lines of vice, or perhaps would fall under Epicureanism, I would talk about escapism. I am all the real short version of this philosophy is the contentment or enjoyment you're going to get out of life is the sum total of the good and bad mood your mind was in. And there's nothing wrong with a little bit of escapism as long as you don't make that your real life. So if you want to go and play video games or watch a movie or daydream or I'm trying to think, live vicariously either through media or a book, that's okay. Like Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, go imagine you're sitting there on the boat with Captain Jack Sparrow. That's fine. Go ahead and consume that. As long as it doesn't take away from anything. But I'm all for escapism. I got an Oculus Quest. It's like the headset. I play golf. Am I really out there playing golf? No, but it's fun. There's pistol whip. Am I John Wick? Shoot, no, but it's fun. Am I a special commando in the forces of World War II running the beach on a Call of Duty game? No, but it's fun. And so it's kind of nice to just, escape, especially. And here's the key thing: if you have nothing else to do, like once all your chores are done and you hit the gym and and you don't want to go out into normie conforming world, and you've had your meeting at the Royal Order of the Water Buffalo, and you've done your shift for the security cop thing for the rally or whatever, and you banged your wife, or your wife is fat, and you don't want to have sex anyway, then it's like, yeah, well, okay, you've done your thing. Pour yourself a drink. Watch a movie. Imagine you're with Lee Van Cleef and Clint Eastwood in the Wild West somewhere, even though it was filmed in Italy. Absolutely binge and consume movies. Absolutely. Go watch a Japanese anime, all 3 of them that don't suck. Because it takes your mind out. One of the worst times I was ever in my life, I realized if I watched a movie or did something or read a book or whatever, my mind was not focusing on my problems because your brain is like a CPU. It can only kind of really focus or process one application at a time. And what you will do is, in avoiding your problems through escapism, I mean, you don't avoid your problems, they're still there, but they'll resolve themselves without you worrying. And so in participating in escapism, these problems that have no solution except time, you're just biding your time, and your brain unconsciously kind of solves those problems, heals up, and then you could have sat there and worried each night for whatever 6 months, a year about the problem that had no solution. Or you could have escaped, played video games, watched movies. And certainly when you were conscious and didn't have your mind preoccupied with other things, you escaped. You enjoyed that. And so instead of 6 months of every waking moment worrying about it, it was 1/6 of your waking moments worrying about it. Otherwise, you were plied with escapism and living in an alternative world. And so that's about it. That's what I got. I mean, anything that you find intellectually, but those are kind of the general categories I found that work well for me. So link below for any of you who are intelligent, or you're depressed or sad, or maybe you're just like, I can't believe all this. Do you have an urge to murder people you've never met because they drive slow on the highway, or they're fat and stupid and in front of you at the line at Walmart? You might want to get this book before you go to jail. It's called The Curse of the High IQ. It's for smart people in the West in general, but particularly America, because we have such stupid people. And if you're alone, like, am I losing it? Look, before you go talk to a therapist, like, am I losing it? Why is everybody telling me there's something wrong with me? Get this book. You may just be really smart, and you're the one high school kid saying, I don't want to go to college for $150,000 for something. And your whole environment, like, you're stupid, you're dumb, you don't know anything. It's like, no, you're the one smart kid. You're right. Hey, should we be throwing these people who follow this particular religion into a bunch of gas chambers? It seems wrong to me. Shut up. You're going to go in there with them. Oh, okay, I'm just stupid. I don't know. That's some moral questions. Sometimes society is wrong. Right now, you could say anything post 1965 in the West, society is wrong and the individual is right. But the individual doesn't know that because they're surrounded by a bunch of either people who are misinforming them or outright lying to them. And they're like, what? I'm being a nice guy. I've tried every fishing hole. I've been really nice and kind and sweet to a girl. Why won't they go out with me?
You were lied to by everyone.
It's not possible, is it?
Yes, yes, it is. And you're smarter than everyone else, likely. Please get this book.
You'd be like, it's interesting. I've had people like, couples say, like, I cried. Like, you cried? I thought there was something wrong with me. Like, no. Everyone's just a freaking moron. I don't care how arrogant that statement sounds. I've had to tolerate you normie conformies and inferiors my entire life. And again, as I said before, I wouldn't be so vindictive or hate-filled if you all were just neutral. But it's your addiction to being popular and attacking anyone different than you in a truly bigoted and malicious way or malicious ways. No, you guys are evil. You're scum. And until I see a normie conforming inferior actually show some kind of discipline and some ethics, like, well, I wouldn't do that. Like, why would I do that? Just because that guy's like, whatever, in a wheelchair, or that guy's smart, or that girl's doing something differently. You know, Mean Girls was a movie, but that's pretty much every normal What, you guys get in fisticuffs because your team, the Philadelphia Eagles go to the Green Bay Packers, and you guys get in fights. Yeah, I can hate you. I can hate you. I have every right to take advantage of you. Oh, hey, buy this beer. It grows your peen real big. Oh, if you buy this $130 other man's jersey, you're really cool. Get this $70,000 car. Then you're a real man. Just give me that money. Absolutely. I'm just sad there's other people who got ahead of me on that stuff. People have been doing Operation Evil for a long time. But for the few of you that are actually intelligent in the United States and you're sick and tired of like being miserable and depressed, but you've never had your IQ tested, but you had, here's the thing. It's not that you got straight A's, that you got A's in math. Because history, English, all that art, that's just ran by teachers that hate smart students. So those don't count. Get your IQ tested. See what happens. But if you're sad and depressed, you're like, why does no one get this? Go get this book. Curse of the High IQ, link below. Subscribe to the channel if you guys kindly would. Let's go to the super chats if there are any. Sarah's. Oh, Sarah, by the way, Sarah Mahmood, I was tuning into the Elkins podcast a couple days ago. You donate money to Chad, but not me. I know you because you're one of the few girls here. I've never seen a super chat, and here you are. You donate 5 shekels to old Chad. Old Chad gets 5. Old Cappy, I get nothing. Nothing. Give $5 to old Vlad Elkins. Just want to point that out. Chad shakes his tush, man. The girls they like bad Chad. They like bad. Nobody loves poor Cappy. Poor Cappy over here. Nobody listens. Nobody loves. So sad. I don't even know if I got any super chats. Got a lot of comments. Oh, here we go. Product of Cook County, 7963. Our Uber on the south side agent in the field, $2. I could definitely agree with the weed. Yeah, no, Chad swears by it. You know, the guy who gets $5 donations from Sarah and I get none. Is that the Chad you're talking about? The one that Sarah gives money to, but you get none of? That's the one. He swears by it, and I haven't been that tempted, but yeah. I don't do the booze anymore, but man, there are times like, is there a chemical that makes it all go away? And Chad's like, yeah. Atham's like, yeah. Doc is in the house. Wisco Nomad, we got those 2 Wisconsinites out there, those Hanyakers. Man, there are no super chat. Oh, Wisco Nomad, $2. Definitely not having another man's name on your back. Yeah. Not me. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. What here? What Atham? Where the hell are you? There's another. Well, that's a guy. Tell me how photoshopped and graphic edited could that image be? Okay, Michelle O'Rourke Hansen. I just saw hair and I clicked like, yeah, all right. This is what I like about your. Well, thank you, Michelle. We appreciate it. Where's Atham? Wisco Nomad, $2. Beer and wings, bro. Girls, there's a piece of me that wants to go back to Milwaukee just to see these wash-ups. Sarah Smile. Yeah, of course, Chad. Yeah, she is the best. Yeah. Oh, Tracy's in the room. Erica's here. Man, we got more girls than I thought. Erica D for $2. She has nothing to say. Thank you, Erica. A woman that gives you money and doesn't talk. I kid. Schlitz malt liquor, $5. He also has nothing to say. Thank you. That's it. All right. All hobbies must be inexpensive because you are a slave. Yeah, don't take hobbies like boating or education. Yeah, just hobbies where you don't have to spend a lot of money. All right, that's it. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.